Hello, and welcome to the Grouping and Mapping course, Chapter 3, Lesson 3. In this video, we're discussing the code required for getting started with grouping and mapping. In the last chapter, we had our 3-step plan to create our reports. This video will be focused on how we accomplish the first step, creating our mappings. The primary tool we used to do this was the Grouping and Mapping widget. We're going to take a moment to understand better how it works and what it's doing. Behind the widget is the Grouping and Mapping service and the Mappings APIs. Unlike the other widgets used in this course, the Grouping and Mapping widget is available as an NPM package. The benefits of this widget is that you don't need to know the specifics about the APIs to get started with grouping and mapping. The widget acts as a user interface, client, all rolled into one. The package allows you to quickly create your own mappings. Let's look at the documentation page for it now. A link to this page will be included in the description below. Now, how do we get started using this package? Well, we need to first start with an iTwin viewer application before we can do anything else. If you're not familiar with it, there's learning material linked in the Getting Started section of this page, and some more resources will be linked in the description of this video. I've gone ahead and created an iTwin viewer web app and made the necessary changes to have it run. This is what it looks like when we run the application. Notice the Grouping Mapping widget is missing from the left side of the app. How do we get the widget there? We have 3 steps. Number 1, install the NPM package. 2, request the API scopes. 3, add the widget to the viewer's UI. We can install the package using the install command on the right side of this page. Now that you have the package in the application, we need to give it proper permission to use it. The app will need to request access to the following API scopes. To allow this, you will need to update the scopes in 2 different locations, both in our client ID and the local environment file. Now to include the widget in our UI. This page gives an example on how to do that. Let's jump over to the repository for application and make those changes. Here is the app made by the iTwin Viewer React template. And as a reminder, here is the environment file we updated during step 2 with the correct scopes. Now we'll move into app.tsx where we will make the rest of the changes. Following the uses section of the documentation page, first we need to add our import. Then we will add the widget provider to the viewer component's UI provider argument. And that completes the steps. We'll start the application and see the results. And here it is. You can see the Grouping and Mapping widget on the left side of the panel now, ready for us to use it. If you find the widget limiting and does not have the best functionality for your use case, the package has options for that. Let me draw your attention to the bottom of the npm doc page. This section talks about adding your own custom UI into the widget itself, either as a new method for generating groups or as a context menu to process those groups. An alternative to this is to fork the repository for the Grouping and Mapping package. The package is open source, and you can find a link to the repo here. By forking it, you can extend the existing widget's functionality exactly as you need it, whether while extending the widget or if you need to create a completely new tool. The mapping APIs are available. They will be linked in the description of this video. You can always call those APIs to take direct control of your groupings and mappings. Now you have everything you need to get started creating your own mappings. In the next video, we'll add code to consume the user-created groupings and mappings and extract that data from the iModel. I'll see you then.